Greetings from Ron Fonstock Field in Canton, Illinois, where Clutch Sports Media is ready to go for a Week 3 Mid-Illini Conference battle between the 1-1 Morton Potters and the host Canton Little Giants, who enter this one 0-2 but are ready to try and attempt their first win of the season. Hello and welcome into the broadcast, everybody. With the former Metamora standout Ryan Vogel, I'm Joey Wright. We're ready to go. A picture-perfect day. Couldn't ask for a better evening for football. Ryan, we'll start with Canton. What do the Little Giants have to do to get their first win of the season?
I really think the key is, number one, contain Seth Glatz. He's been running all over everybody, and it's not going to be a pretty scoreboard for the Little Giants if they can't contain him.
Seth Glatz, he is a superstar for the Morton Potters. Pekin running back Kanye Tyler has garnered a lot of headlines this season. Don't discount the efforts of Seth Glatz. He can key an offense, and that's really where Morton begins and ends, right, is Seth Glatz. That might be a little unfair to say because they have a talented quarterback. They have a talented cast of receivers, but if they can run the ball, you got to figure the Potters are going to be okay tonight.
If Seth Glatz can get outside and then everyone's focused on him, they got plenty of other weapons, so it's going to be a great offensive night for Morton.
We'll see how the Potters perform. Ryan, I mentioned, obviously, you played at Metamora for a couple of years. You grew up playing against Canton, playing against Morton. These two teams always play each other close. It's one of the farthest drives in the Mid-Illini Conference. Metamora and Canton might be a little bit further, but two teams that always play each other close. Regardless of the records coming into this one, we know we're going to see a good game of football.
I mean, that's the Mid-Illini Conference for you, too. Every week in and out's a battle, and it doesn't matter if they're in last or first. You got two great teams. Canton's going to bring a big crowd, and Morton will as well. Two great teams. It's going to be a great matchup tonight.
That crowd is ready to go. Let's head up to the booth for Clutch Sports Media's live coverage of Morton and Canton. Clutch Sports Media's coverage of Mid-Illini Conference football continues into the third week of the 2021 IHSA football season. Morton and Canton are ready to go. It is a beautiful evening in Canton, Illinois. The Canton Little Giants are set to make their first appearance on the field. It is a packed capacity crowd at Ron Fonstock Field in Canton tonight. Joey Wright, Ryan Vogel, and the entire Clutch Sports Media team excited to share this one with you. And Ryan, we talked about it at the top of the show. These are two teams that always play each other close. Morton entering this one 1-1. Canton 0-2, coming off two tough losses to Marengo and Mahomet Seymour. But Nick Wright, the head coach of these Canton Little Giants, is optimistic that this could be a turning point in their season.
Yeah, and I think he's right, Joey. First week of the Mid-Illini Conference, and both teams are ready for a clean slate. As of now, both teams are 0-0, and they're ready for a great night tonight.
It is such a tough conference that spans all the way from Metamora to Canton, everyone in between. You look at Washington, Morton, Limestone, East Peoria have been down last couple of years, but they're trying to put some things together and trend in the right direction. It's a special football conference as the Canton Little Giants get set to go. And talking about Canton, one of our keys to the game for these Little Giants is going to be controlling the run and controlling Seth Glatz, the star running back for Morton. You see the Potters there. Force mistakes is going to be big for Morton, but talking about Canton, it's execution, it's stay in the game, and be strong between the tackles on that offensive line.
Yeah, really the key is contain Seth Glatz, and it's not just the Seth Glatz show either. They have plenty of weapons that they can use, so it's going to take a great effort from Canton's defense tonight.
Looking at the Morton Potters, Lane Kaufman, very talented quarterback. He's a senior, knows how to find his receivers. He's not just a game manager. He's a guy that can make some big throws. A very talented receiving group for these Morton Potters. They are coached by Tim Briley. As we said, they are 1-1. We're set and ready to go in Canton, Illinois. A quick reminder that tonight's coverage is brought to you by Jake Weston State Farm. Glad to have him aboard this evening. It is a beautiful night in Canton, Illinois. Kickoff temperature hovering right in the mid-70s, 74 degrees. Very little humidity, feels exactly like the temperature. A little bit of a breeze. It's a very nice evening. It's only going to get cooler and nicer as the sun continues to dip down the horizon. We're already almost in total darkness. We will pause along with everyone in Canton here, a moment of remembrance for those lost in the September 11th attacks 20 years ago tomorrow. We will join those in Canton in a quick moment of remembrance.
And the thousands of families and friends who still grieve their lives. Please stand as you are able for a moment of silence, reflection, and respect. Thank you.
That was a brief moment of remembrance for all those lost, not only on that day 20 years ago, but because of the residual effects since. Nice of Canton, and I imagine a lot of schools around the area, to honor the victims of those attacks tonight, with that anniversary being tomorrow. As there you see the Little Giants, they're ready to go, huddled in their own end zone. I want to thank Evan Johnson, our producer this evening, Jonathan Michael on our camera, our entire Clutch Sports Media team happy to be in with you as the Little Giants are revving up. And looking at some key players for Canton, Ryan, it's got to start with their quarterback, Nick Oldfield.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows it. If you're not scoring, you're not winning. So it's going to take a great effort on both sides of the ball. In the past couple weeks, their coach talked about how they had a few key drops and key moments, and that's what it's going to take down the Potters tonight.
And in that receiving game, we're keeping an eye on Colton Hess, senior receiver. He'll be number 2 in purple tonight. That's a guy that Oldfield can hook up with on a dime, it seems. Colton Hess is going to be a player to watch as the Little Giants are being introduced. Jake Miller, introduced as a linebacker, but we expect to see him in the passing game as well. He's a tight end for Nick Wright's Little Giants. And Turner Plummer, a guy that Nick Wright mentioned as well, as someone who's got to step up in the receiving game. That's really the key. We've talked about it now a little bit, Ryan. They've got to limit mistakes. You can't drop passes. You can't turn the ball over against a team like Morton. Head coach Tim Briley runs a great program, and they'll make you pay on that execution front.
That's Mid-Illini football for you. That teams always capitalize on the mistakes. There's no room for mistakes, especially later in the season. We're going to see a few tonight. I know we will, because it's the first Mid-Illini game. Nerves are high, and if Canton can limit their mistakes, then they could be well on their way to their first win of the season.
It's a Canton team that, as we mentioned, is looking to bounce back after 2 season-opening losses. The first one at home to Mahomet Seymour, a great team about 10 miles outside of Champaign-Urbana. Marengo last week, slap on the wrist for these Little Giants. But, Ryan, as you said, first conference game of the year for either side. Might as well be 0-0 as the Little Giants storm through the band, past the cheerleaders. They're ready to go. Bursting onto the field. American flags, Canton Little Giants flags and all. It is a near-capacity crowd. Probably go as far to say it is a capacity crowd at Ron Fonstock Field tonight. Some folks may well be down at the concession stand and still entering the stadium. Those sorts of things of the like. The student section going quite a few rows deep. Pretty deep band, too. I'm excited to hear them at halftime as they make their way off the field. And now the coin toss. Appears Canton has won and elected to kick off. And Ryan, talking offense, talking defense, how about special teams for Morton? I remember watching Ashton Everding and company a few years ago. That was an electric return group, could return a kick at will. Canton's got to watch out on this opening kick.
Yes, and that's one of the things. A special teams is so overlooked in high school, in my opinion. Sometimes teams take it a little bit too lightly. You need guys who are going to make tackles, plain and simple. You need guys who aren't afraid to go down and hit. And if they got some speed in the backfield, I mean, Morton's in a good position to take one to the house at any time, any punt, any kick return.
Back deep to return this opening kickoff, Seth Glatz, the star running back, and Michael Wong, also listed as a running back. Glatz a senior, Wong a junior. And handling the kickoff duties for the Little Giants is Kai Correa. We're glad you're with us for Mid-Illini Conference football on ClutchSportsIL.com. The kick is up, away, we're underway, fielded at the 30, and immediately down to wise decision on the part of Blake Shoemaker, the junior for the Potters, to take a knee. And with that, the first look at the Morton offense. Seth Glatz, need we say any more?
I mean, his playing will be doing the talking here in about a couple minutes. They're going to go to him right away. I think they're going to get outside, and if they can get outside with Seth Glatz, they better hope that their corners and safeties can make some perimeter tackles.
Tackling is going to be key all night long for Canton as the Potters make their first appearance on the field. 12 minutes on the board, set and ready. It is Kaufman with Glatz behind him. Four-man front for Canton, handoff to Glatz. A flag comes in just as soon as we start. Pending the flag, it was a gain of 3.
That's Glatz, 3 yards, penalty marker down.
And it appears, Ryan, the early indications are that that'll be a hold against the Potters, so not a bad start for Canton.
Tackle by Trevor Putman.
And it will. So we talked about unforced errors for Canton. There's one for the Potters. And that's going to send them way back.
And one big thing is that they need to capitalize on this. If they can score first, I mean, that takes the wind out of the sails for the Potters in the first half. It would be a huge defensive stop for the Little Giants here.
Indeed, it was a hold. First down at 20 coming up. So we'll see if this forces the Potters to pass. That's something that Canton head coach Nick Wright wanted to do. It was a handoff to Glatz. Small sample size, and one of the 2 plays we've seen was a penalty against Morton, but that Canton defensive line looks strong early on.
Yes, back-to-back plays, not much going for Glatz and the Potters. The Little Giants are getting right through the offensive line.
Highlight a couple of receivers for Morton out there. Ashton Soydam is out there along with Mack Anderson. Keeper for Lane Kaufman, and Kaufman's got a lot of space on the outside. Kaufman up past the 45-yard line. Lane Kaufman can do it all for these Potters, Ryan. It's not just passing that he can get you, and as much as we've talked about Seth Glatz, Kaufman proves this is a very dynamic Potters offense.
Yes, just like we mentioned, they have multiple weapons, and yes, you need to contain Seth Glatz, but you also need to contain about their 3, 4, 5 other weapons that they have too.
Morton quick to the line. It's going to be a pass back to Glatz. Glatz trying to get towards the 50-yard line, stopped just a yard short. That Canton defense looking good early when they can get to Glatz, but that option from Kaufman.
Back-to-back plays, too. Really good bursts of speed by both those guys. I mean, those guys are seriously quick.
And when we talked with Canton head coach Nick Wright on Wednesday, he said that that's something this Morton offense can do. They can give it to Glatz a couple of times, but then it's that odd run from Kaufman. It's that odd slant route across the middle. They can pick up 10, 15 yards. It's death by a million paper cuts, it seems sometimes, as Glatz is stopped again right where he started. Maybe got to the 50-yard line. We'll see if they give him forward progress. Third down coming up, and a big play for Canton early on.
Glatz, 1 yard.
At the very least, though, Ryan, it looks like Canton is doing a good job of slowing down this Morton offense, an offense that wants to run up tempo. Third down and 4.
Yes, and especially in the middle. They're not letting anything in the middle.
Kaufman passing for the first time tonight, airing one out down the field. Pass falls short at the 15-yard line, but a flag. And it looked like defensive pass interference. I know you and I both saw that up here.
Yeah, I think he was grabbing him on the back a little bit. From this angle, it could have looked like good defense, but from up above here, I think we saw the pass interference.
That was a pass, I believe that was intended for Jackson Weber. And we'll see. They've not moved the ball down the field yet. Now they will. So our premonition that it was a defensive pass interference call proves correct. First down and 10, and that's not necessarily a bad penalty to take, because pass interference. It's not a spot foul in high school or college, as they officially call it defensive holding. Could have prevented a touchdown there.
Yeah, and I think the receiver had him beat too. If he lets go of him, he's probably gone.
Man in motion. Suit him. He's going to get free. He's got a little bit of space. Bounces it outside. A flag is down at the 38-yard line. If it stands, it's a touchdown for Morton. We'll see what the flag is. Some Potters think this one's coming back. It's a 39-yard touchdown rush for Ashton Soydom, but it is going to come back.
Regardless of the flag, I mean, that was some great field awareness by the running back. The couple cutbacks that he made were really, really nice.
The flag down for holding at the 42-yard line, but you're exactly right. That flag didn't give him those cuts, didn't give him that elusive cut to the end zone, and it will come back. Holding against Morton. Second penalty against the Potters. Same time we've seen that holding call. Or I should say both times we've seen that hold. And Canton has got to be happy. I know we're just a little bit into this game, but I've got to believe that they're happy with the defensive effort here, as they'll officially mark it second down and 20.
Still in probably punt range here, I would say. I mean, depending on how much trust Morton has in their offense, but I would say they're getting in near fourth down, go for it range.
Kind of in no man's land. It's a pass on 1st and 20. Airing it out down the field is Kaufman. Kaufman had Tyson Hart deep, just overthrew him a little bit, but Hart did a nice job of getting past the defense. Cornerback in on that one was Maddox Graham. Second down and 20 coming up. Just about make that 2.5 minutes into this one. If you're just joining us, Morton started this drive at their own 30-yard line. A couple of penalties on both sides have added up, but it's a good battle early on. Kaufman, a handoff to Glatz. Glatz past the 50-yard line, brought down at the 49.
And the Little Giants continue to block up the middle. They haven't let anything really up the middle. Everything's been to the outside, and something I mentioned earlier, I said they need to make perimeter tackles. They're doing a great job of stuffing Morton inside, and if they can make perimeter tackles, then they're going to have a good shot.
What's your mentality on 3rd down and 19? Are you playing back further to the sticks, or are you getting aggressive and trying to come up and make a play at the line?
I would say early in the game I'm playing it safe. I really want if I was Canton, I'd really want the ball.
Screen pass to Tyson Hart. Hart's going to be brought down about 3 yards short. And it's a good thing that they did play that a little conservatively. A screen pass, a good call from Morton, but Canton comes up and makes that stop. And Ryan, you alluded to it just a minute ago. And I agree with you. I think it's 4-down territory for Morton. Looks like the Potters agree with us.
Yes.
What's the play call here? Do they go to Glatz, or maybe one of those options for Kaufman, a screen?
I think I would go either screen, some type of outside run. The inside run is just not working right now. They need to work on the stuff that's been working.
Morton offense has been balanced early on. Mack Anderson, the receiver, towards us. It's a handoff to Glatz, but it looks like a false start right at the line. We'll see who jumped first. Play whistle dead. That's usually an indication that it's against the offense, and indeed it is. By my count, the 3rd penalty against the Potters early on. 2 of them holds, 1 of them that false start. And that takes a 4th down and 3 and makes it 4th and 8. Two receivers towards us now, as Kaufman lines up with Glatz behind him. Kaufman rolling. He's going to look long to the sideline. It's hauled in by Anderson. Mack Anderson comes up and makes a terrific catch. He was well contained that time by Colton Hess, but Ryan, that last cut back to Kaufman was what did it for him.
Good defense, better throw.
Kaufman threw that one on a dime. New set of downs for Morton. As you see at the bottom of your screen, 7:45 left, first quarter. Kaufman, a handoff to Seth Glatz. Glatz shakes one man off. 2 bring him down at the 20. Terrific job from Morgan Cahoe and Kai Correa in on the stop that time for Canton.
Now Kai Correa, the tackle.
Here come the Potters again. Handoff up the middle to Seth Glatz. Glatz past the 15, and now Morton's starting to run the offense they wanted to, Ryan. Starting to feed Glatz, not getting those big chunk plays. They've gotten a few through the air, but just kind of going up the field play by play.
Yeah, and something they did good is they showed a few things. They showed outside run, they showed screen, and they showed up the middle. And the thing about the teams that always run it up the middle is a lot of times the defense starts focusing on middle run.
Lobbed up over the middle and incomplete. Jack Stump did a great job of getting free over the middle, but the throw just wasn't there. Sets up 2nd down and 10. Not quite goal to go, but very close. And that's been my biggest takeaway, I think, from this just over 5 minutes we've seen, is this Morton offense looks incredibly balanced, incredibly diverse in the play calls. 2nd and 10 from the 11. As we said, not quite a goal-to-go situation, but close. Man in motion. And Kaufman's going to keep it himself. Near the goal line, stopped short. And that might be a first down, as improbable as that was, to get that 1 yard. We'll see where they spot it. They'll spot it short. 3rd down coming up. And Lane Kaufman has been electric in the early going. Now lines up with Glatz behind him. Handoff Glatz. Glatz surges towards the goal line through a few people, and he's in. Got through a couple Little Giants, and Seth Glatz puts the Morton Potters on the board first. 6-0 Morton. 6:12 to play in our first quarter.
And if I'm Canton there, I'm not terribly unhappy with how that series went. Like I said, they got outside. Seth Glatz got outside. Kaufman made a great throw, and that's really what beat them. I mean, there really wasn't many mistakes. It was just a great drive by Morton.
Morton methodically marched it up the field, and on to attempt the extra point, Jackson Weber. Weber's kick is up and good, and Morton is ahead 7-0. And Ryan, I want to go off that point. Morton had a couple of chances to get off the field, but not bad defense, or Canton, I should say, had a couple of chances to get off the field on defense, but I don't think it was any big miscues that cost him. It was just that dime from Lane Kaufman, you know, those well-placed passes, the good play calls, and that's what allowed the Potters to march it up the field. So it's a good game early on, I'll say that.
Outside the couple penalties for Morton, that's a great drive. Exactly the way you want to start off the game. I've always said this, it's so big to score first. So big to score first.
Especially bearing in mind that Morton, obviously, as that was our one possession so far, received the opening kick. So it will be Canton's to start it off. Not something to overly focus on, but something that could pop up later, you know, as we start to get towards halftime, and it could change the strategies for both teams. Morton coming in off a 34-21 win at home against Galesburg, a 28-21 loss to LaSalle Peru in week 1. But that's a good LaSalle Peru team that just barely lost to Metamora 1 week ago. Kick fielded at the 10-yard line. Here's Canton. And taking it to the 25-yard line, Isaiah Session. Or no, pardon me, I believe that was Brady Smith with a good return there. Better than what a touchback would have given him, as it's now officially spotted at the 26-yard line. And here's our first look at the Canton offense. Nick Wright told us on Wednesday that he wanted to keep his offense on the field. Execution has plagued them in the first 2 weeks. Nick Oldfield in the backfield. Star quarterback for Canton. Fires one quickly to the 30-yard line and caught by Turner Plummer. And Turner Plummer, Ryan, a guy that Canton wants to get really involved in this offense.
Yeah, and that's another example. That was good defense. I mean, he was defended well, and he just made a good catch, and the quarterback made a good throw.
That would be Turner Plumer, my apologies, junior receiver. Two good showings in the first 2 weeks of the season. Oldfield now will hand it off. First run for the Little Giants, and a great effort at the line of scrimmage to get a couple of yards from that. That was Lashawn Wallace. Wallace, a junior, with a great second effort, bowled over a couple and moves the chains. First down, Canton.
That's what it's going to take. Those second effort type plays is really going to win it for the Little Giants tonight.
Morton defense looks a little out of sorts. We'll see if Canton can get the snap off. Morton defense settles in. Oldfield firing one out to the sidelines and caught. Dylan Watts, the junior for Canton, with the reception.
And I really like this tempo that Canton's rolling with. They're not letting. You saw a little bit of panic in Morton's defense there, running around. They're keeping the tempo up. It was a little slowed down there because they went out of bounds. But I really like the tempo that Canton has going on right now.
That'll be something to watch throughout if they can beat that Potters defense into getting set. Here is Wallace, and a great run from Lashawn Wallace. 2 carries and 2 first downs for the junior.
Might be in for a battle of the running backs tonight.
That's what it looks like. Lashawn Wallace with 2 first downs on 2 carries. Canton has run, I believe, 4 plays, maybe 5, but they've gained yards in all of them. 4 wide receiver set for the Little Giants.
I think they're going to stick to that same play they've been going. Yep.
Out to the sideline, no over the middle that time, pardon me. And caught
fumble
by Jake Miller. Ball comes out. Does Morton have it? Yes, they do, and the Potters force a big fumble. It's a big turnover. That was Jake Miller, the tight end that we highlighted at the top of the show. Miller also plays linebacker, such a key guy for this Canton team.
That's a big momentum killer for the Little Giants too. A stop here is going to be huge. An answer there would have been even bigger, but the Giants defense needs to step up now.
Both teams look good offensively out of the gates, but Morton forces a big turnover, and immediately they get the ball back, and a big hit on Glatz there at the 40, or pardon me, call that the 37-yard line. We'll see what the Morton offense elects to do tempo-wise here. Ryan, what do you think? Do they kind of slow it down? We've seen a little bit of both. They've hurried to the line a couple times, and they've also been content to slow it down as they do now.
Just like you said, I think they're going to stick with that methodical drive, eat the clock and score and depend on their defense, and they did a great job getting a fumble recovery.
Kaufman handoff to Glatz, and Glatz is hit hard at the 41-yard line. Big 4th down coming up, and you can hear the Canton crowd getting into it. They like what they're seeing on defense from their Little Giants early on. That was a big hit, and 3rd down coming up, 3rd down and 4. Not seeing any fear from this Canton defense in the early stages. 3rd and 4, Kaufman with Glatz. Glatz now in motion, it's just Kaufman. He's going to drop back to pass. Over the middle, intercepted by Canton. That's Kai Correa. Kai Correa to the 10. He's got a pick 6, and Canton is on the board. Kai Correa steps up big for the Little Giants.
Wow, and not only about the one-handed interception, but also the field awareness to cut back and get past about three guys and take it to the house. Unbelievable play. That's just what the Little Giants needed.
7-6 and a chance to tie it. And Ryan, I was thinking immediately after that fumble, how big would a turnover for Canton be there? And this Little Giants team has proven they've come to play.
And not only did that get some win in the sails for Canton, but the crowd too. Crowd's up, and they were going nuts.
Correa, after the pick 6, is going to come on to attempt the extra point. Kick didn't get any elevation on that. Call it a block. Don't know if the ball was, I'd have to see that back, frankly. But
I think it was 15 blocked it.
Yeah. Kai Correa, nevertheless, with that big pick 6, and Canton just trails by 1. Correa is going to be a big part of that special teams unit. Nick Wright told us on Wednesday that if Canton can punch it in, they're a team that's going to kick the extra point. Correa is a guy they believe in, but he's got to be the early candidate for our Canton player of the game. Want to take a quick break to remind you that tonight's coverage is brought to you by Jake Weston State Farm in Washington, Illinois. For all your insurance needs, Jake Weston is your guy. Give him a call at 309-444-4441, an easy number to remember. Also remember Jake from State Farm. That's got to help a little, and that number on the bottom of your screen all game long. Glad to have Jake Weston aboard, not only tonight, but a couple of nights throughout the season. Correa on to kick it off, and Ryan, we've got a ball game early on. This is going to be terrific, I feel like.
Hey, it's only the first quarter, too, and it's been great.
7-6 Morton, but the Little Giants with momentum. Pooched up to the 32 and taking a knee.
Now, one thing I like about the pooch kick is a lot of times it ends in a fair catch. Right around the 30, and if they can spot it really well, it's a fair catch around the 20, 25 area. That's a great spot for the defense. And if you can have a kicker that can place it like that, that's huge. Kickers, a little bit underrated in high school, and I might say that because I was a kicker myself. But
a little love for the special teams unit. Haven't seen the punters yet thus far, and that's 2 pooch kicks. The first one went to the 30-yard line. That one spotted at the 32. Blake Shoemaker taking a knee on both of them. Canton defense a little out of sorts as Morton starts this drive from the 32. Glatz stopped at the line once more. And how does the Morton offense respond coming off that turnover?
I can really feel it in the air. I took some wind out of their sails. They need to go back to their bread and butter, though. That what was working on the first drive, they need to go right back.
That one to the 35. And that's what stands out to me, Ryan, is that aggressiveness, that tenacity on the front four for Morton, or for Canton. They've really stepped up between the tackles.
Yeah, continues to stuff the inside run consistently.
What's the play call on 3rd and 7?
They're going to go outside.
Kaufman with Glatz again. We've seen this combination. They will go outside to Glatz in the backfield. Glatz slipping past the first couple of defenders. Bowls to the first down sticks. He's got it. Lowered the shoulder and got the job done, and that's what you'd expect from Seth Glatz.
And that's a game changer. That's how he can change the game. A lot of guys they're done on that perimeter tackle. You saw him get a little piece of his jersey, but he got right through it. That burst of speed got him outside, and great run for the first down.
It's a new set of downs for Morton. Kaufman this time with another handoff to Glatz. Glatz to the 49-yard line before he's brought down, and now he's starting to get going. First drive, we saw this again, that Morton offense driving down the field, getting just a couple of yards at a time.
Flag 6 yards. Correa to tackle.
Two wide receivers, a couple of bunched in tight for the Potters. Play action. Kaufman looking down the field, and that one was just a little bit overthrown, was looking for Mack Anderson. Mack Anderson, we've called his name a little bit tonight. He's done a great job of getting down the field. They line him up and they watch him go. Anderson, a senior receiver, also plays defensive back for these Potters. Now he'll switch it to the far sideline.
And with you mentioning he's playing both sides, it's great to have a receiver that thinks like a DB, and it's great to have a DB that thinks like a receiver.
Helps you out on both sides of the ball when you know what the other is thinking. Hand off to Glatz. Kaufman doing a nice job of trying to sell that option. And Kaufman, with another great second effort, will easily move the chains. But Ryan, it looked like he kind of started his descent there right at the first down marker and picked up another 4 or 5 on top of that.
And like I said, that's a game-changing type play. Fresh set of downs, and now they're basically in they're out of punt range.
Getting into no man's land. This is out to Anderson. Anderson with a reception at the 43, up to the 31, and that will be a fresh set of downs for Morton. They're making the chain gang work early on, but a flag down, and we'll see what the call is, and that one is coming back. and that is a hold against the Potters, and an area score for us. How about Metamora out to a, you could call that a hot start. I think that might be an understatement. 42-0 on East Peoria right now, about 3 minutes left in the second quarter. So the Redbirds continuing to roll, and we were talking about that off the air before this one. That might be my pick to win the Mid-Illini Conference. I know a lot of people are high on Pekin, and 2-0 with 2 big wins. The Redbirds are on fire. First down and 15. A little bit of trickery here. This is Soydom, and he's brought down at the 48.
That was defended really well. No one on the defense really panicked. Everyone kind of held their own, held their spot, and led them right to the ball.
Flag is down, and that will be another hold against Morton. By my count, unofficial total, Ryan, but that's the 4th hold I believe we've seen against Morton. Saw 2 on their first drive, and this is the 2nd on their second drive. Didn't stop them from getting into the end zone on drive number 1, but this will back them way up. We cross back across the 50-yard line, and pardon me, not holding, but rather an illegal block. But at the end of the day, the same conversation. A lot of early flags coming when Morton's got the ball.
One of the rare first down and 25.
See how this changes the Potters' attack. They've been dynamic tonight, and it looks like a false start. Someone jumped on that line. That'll back them up to 1st and 30. And you've got to feel like Canton has got to take advantage of this situation. First down and 30.
Have to.
It was not a false start, but rather I believe they say a receiver walked off the field, the call there. There you get a look at Morton head coach Tim Briley. 1st and 30. Morton has shoveled out of despair once thus far. The first quarter expires. This is the last play of the frame. Canton out of sorts. Kaufman's got the first down and then a few more. Lane Kaufman caps the first quarter with a terrific run. First down, Potters.
Wow, and I thought they had an angle on him too, and he just simply outran them.
Lane Kaufman. And that's exactly how it went early in the quarter, is when Morton needed an answer, Lane Kaufman was the guy. We see that there. Morton will switch sides and start the second quarter with a new set of downs. And we'll take this break between quarters to remind you that tonight's live coverage of Mid-Illini Conference football on ClutchSportsIL.com is brought to you by Jake Weston State Farm in Washington, Illinois. For all of your insurance needs, call Jake Weston at 309-444-4441. Talked with him a few weeks ago. I said, do you play up the Jake from State Farm angle? You know, is that something you try to embrace, or do you try to avoid it? And he said, I love it. Really helps me out a lot. Jake from State Farm. That's Jake Weston in our case in Washington, Illinois. As I said, 309-444-4441. As we get set for the second quarter, Joey Wright and Ryan Vogel in with you. Evan Johnson, our producer, John Michael on our camera, and our entire Clutch Sports media team in Canton, Illinois tonight. Right at the 25-yard line, the Morton Potters. For just joining us, penalties have added up against both teams. Morton so far has been able to shake them off. What does the Morton offense have to do in quarter number 2 to build on this lead?
Like I've been saying, I said this a couple times, I really think they just need to stay outside, stay with the screens, just like they were right there, a little bit of a broken play.
Airing it out down the field. Morton wants a flag. They won't get it.
That was one of those ones that could really go either way.
Mm-hmm. Saw that on offense and defense. Soydom, the intended receiver. You see him there. Saddam, pardon me. Ashton Saddam, the senior for the Potters. Been saying that wrong all night. I want to apologize for that. 2nd and 10. Morton looking to go ahead by a couple of more points. There's Glatz. Glatz stopped. Got a yard on that, but that has not been an area of success for the Potters tonight. Right between the tackles, that's where Morton is losing the battle to Canton, as we'll have a timeout for an injured player. Training staff will come on the field to tend to an injured Potter.
And this is what it gets in that tricky range, because, I mean, it's very rare that a high school team has kickers who are consistent enough to where the coach would be, okay, let's kick this 30-yard field goal, let's kick this 40-yard field goal. I mean, this is basically, they got 2 more downs to go, and they're out of punt range, and I don't see a field goal coming anytime soon.
And that's what we saw from Morton in the first quarter. Saw it on their touchdown drive, and we've seen it a couple of times here in this, their second drive of the game. When it gets to 3rd down, 4th down, they're able to answer the call. What's your play call on 3rd and 9? Are you looking to maybe go for a shot downfield, or are you looking to maybe get half of what you need and chance it to 4th?
I mean, the Canton defense is proven well right now. They didn't fall for the trick play, and they're certainly not letting anything go up the middle. So I'm looking for a screen pass. I think kind of the same thing they ran to get down here. A little bit of that broken play that was meant to be a screen. I think I would go back to that.
When they've been able to get Canton off guard, that's when they've had a lot of success. Glantz and Kaufman do a great job of improvising. Here's Kaufman, rolling far side, looking down to the 10-yard line, was hit as he threw, falls to the turf harmlessly. 4th and 9 coming up, and you get that feeling that this might be the biggest play of the game so far.
Oh, huge.
4th and 9, and if Canton can get the defense off the field, they revert back to an offense that had a lot of success before a drive-ending fumble. First time they had the ball, a pick 6, 2 plays later, got them on the board. 4th and 9. Saddam sent in motion by Kaufman. Kaufman drops back to pass. Over the middle and overthrown. That was intended for Tyson Hart. And you were right, Ryan. Hart got free, but the pass just a little bit over his head. Just weren't quite on the same page, talking about Kaufman and Hart. And that's a big turnover on downs for Morton, and it could be for Canton as well.
Big sigh of relief there for Canton, because, I mean, he was wide open, just a little bit of a miscue. Good ball, just a little bit overthrown.
Flips back to the Canton Little Giants. 1 drive for the Giants. They got about 30 yards, but it ended at midfield with a fumble. Oldfield dropping back to pass, and there's a ball overthrown intended for Dylan Watts. Watts broke free. Same thing we saw one play ago with Kaufman and Hart. Just couldn't quite get on the same page.
And to point something out, though, that was some great arm strength. I mean, that shot out of his arm like a cannon.
Nick Oldfield has been a staple under center for the Little Giants for a while now. Remember calling his name in the Little Giants loss to Dunlap in October of 2019, the penultimate game of that season. Oldfield can do a lot under center. He can pass and he can move. And breaking free across the middle, this is Lashawn Wallace across midfield. Lashawn Wallace, I believe that's now 3 carries and still 3 first downs. He keeps the streak alive, and Wallace looks really good.
And something that kind of goes unnoticed, a lot of people right there try to make some kind of play. He just put his shoulder down, and he knew he was going down. Protect the ball, go down, and that's what the coach was talking about. They need to prevent those little mistakes, fumbles, interceptions, and he did a great job of just going down when he was supposed to.
Didn't try to do too much. They go to Wallace again. Wallace bounces it out near side. Flag comes down as Wallace goes down. Wallace down at the 47, flag down at the 48. 10:41 left in the quarter, and that'll be a hold against Canton. So now holding has besieged both sides.
I might have jinxed him. Said no little mistakes.
Well, but to that point, I mean, until that point, Canton doing a nice job of execution. Doing the little things. I know, obviously, the fumble from Jake Miller in the first quarter ended a drive, but I believe that's the first play outside of the fumble that hasn't gone forward. Goes a couple yards back, 1st and 20. And it is a pass outside to Miller. Jake Miller gets back to the original line of scrimmage. And you had a feeling that a player like Miller was going to bounce back after that fumble. It does that there, nice gain of 10, and gets Canton back in a decent position.
And I really like that play. Canton's been going a lot of inside run, and to go outside, it kind of throws the defense off, and I really like that play for the Little Giants. Let's see if they go outside again.
Makes it 2nd and 10. Oldfield indeed does go outside. That's out to the sidelines, and Turner Plumer. And for the 2nd consecutive play, Canton halves the deficit. 3rd down and 5 coming up.
That little 5 or 10 yard hitch has proven to be really successful for the Little Giants as well.
They'll officially spot it 3rd and 4, but yeah, that out route has been lethal for Canton. They've converted every time they've looked for it. One-on-one coverage towards us. We'll see if Canton elects to exploit it. They don't. They go back to Wallace, and Wallace for the first time tonight. I call it the 2nd time because they were on it on that holding call a moment ago, but for the 2nd time tonight, on far more carries than that, Wallace stopped for a loss. In fact, it's a loss of 1.
This is one of the toughest calls in my opinion right now. You don't know if it's too early to go for it, but I really like it. I think the Little Giants should go for it.
They'll call it 4th and 5, but as you can see, it's a long 5. First down marker spotted between the 40 and 39. Seth Glatz in on the tackle last play. They go out far side, and it's going to be close. A great second effort from Jake Miller. Will they give him the first down? I think they're going to have to measure that. Morton thinks they've come up with a stop, and it looks like from here that spot might be a half-yard short.
It looks, yeah, looks to be a half-yard short. Looks like the stick's on the 41 about.
And the officials are going to talk about this.
Make that the 39.
I'm with you. It looks like it's short from there. They're going to measure this.
I'm thinking short.
I think it'll be short too. And that Canton bench may obstruct our view. We'll see what we can see. See a lot of purple and gold there, and they will call him short. But what an effort from Jake Miller.
Yeah, really good second effort.
Dropped the shoulder, went down to the turf, and phenomenal effort. When you do that, Ryan, you leave it to the spot. And I mean, where that ball is spotted, he needed a half-yard more, and he's got the first down. What an effort, and it goes back to the defense. 1 touchdown on 3 drives for Morton. Canton has stepped up twice, once with a pick 6, turnover on downs last drive. And here is Saddam, Ashton Saddam, outside. This is going to be a big gain. He gets it to the 34.
And that play is so tough to defend, and I'm not saying just because it's Morton. Just in general, that play is hard to defend. It's hard to teach kids how to tackle on the perimeter. It's very tough. A lot of elusive running backs this year in the Mid-Illini at Pekin, Morton here, and
here's Seth Glatz. Glatz has a hole.
Just like I said,
Flag comes
very
down.
elusive.
He's in. We'll see what the call is. And it will be a hold. That one's coming back. 2nd touchdown we've seen brought back for Morton. First one was a big run from Ashton Saddam, and the second, that one from Seth Glatz.
Someone might have to buy Seth Glatz dinner tonight. I think a couple touchdowns called back because of the hold.
No kidding. And I was just getting ready to say that first one that was called back was a great effort from Saddam, and he did a nice job of making a couple cuts. I remember after that play that was early in the first quarter, that time, same idea from Glatz. It's a great relationship any running back, any decent running back, I should say, has with his offensive line. But sometimes that relationship might get just a little contentious. First down and 20 for Morton. Kaufman handoff to Glatz. Glatz That's a little more than halfway back. And of course, not saying that Glatz hates his offensive line by any means, but got to figure that offensive line just has a little bit to clean up now. 5 or 6 holding calls working about midway through the second quarter. But part of that's got to be a testament to that that Canton defensive front. As Kaufman passes outside to Anderson. Mack Anderson had a convoy with him, broke past his blockers and got it past the 25.
Really good perimeter blocking by Morton's receivers, too. They set that screen up very well.
12 yards.
3rd and 2, a gain of 12. Kaufman and Glatz. Receiver in motion. That's Saddam. Goes to Glatz. Glatz bounces it out, and there's that second effort. Gets it to the 20 and a first down.
It looked like they had a chance to wrap him up for a loss, but I mean, just like we've seen the whole game, second effort from Seth Glatz continues to let the Potters march down the field.
1st and 10 from the 20, and we'll have a timeout called. This one by Canton. And probably a good timeout as Morton starts to mount this drive. They wanted to make sure they had everyone on the same page.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be one of the things talked about in the Morton locker room at halftime. These linemen need to get on the same page. This score could be very, very different if no holding calls, just whole offense on the same page.
I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight on ClutchSportsIL.com. That's been the story for both teams tonight, as both teams have had those plays where they just seem a little, I don't want to say off, but not on the same page as you said a moment ago. See if we get those cleaned up. But a terrific battle early on, Morton and Canton going at it. Out of the timeout called by Canton with 6 minutes and 47 seconds left in the second quarter. Morton again, same formation we've seen so many times. Kaufman's going to keep it. He's going to throw it out to Anderson on that bubble screen, and Anderson brought down right where he caught it. Maybe got a yard from where he caught it, but that'll go for a loss.
And I'm looking to see Morton mix things up here. They've gone a couple screens in a row. I think that's maybe the 3rd or 4th screen on this drive. I'm looking for a Seth Glatz run outside off the edge, something of that sort.
We'll see if they elect to go that route. They do give him the forward progress in 2nd and 10, and there is Glatz up the middle. Breaks through a couple of players there, uses his momentum to pick up a few yards in a big 3rd down coming up. So they go inside with the run to Glatz that time, not outside, but got him a couple of yards. What does that set him up for on 3rd down? Bearing in mind that it's likely 4-down territory.
Maybe a toss.
Kaufman hands off to Glatz. Glatz
great defense.
Battling, and that Canton defense, as you said, steps up and mobs Glatz. Stops him 3 yards short. Wait for the official spot. They will call it 4th and 3, 3 yards short of the sticks. Huge 4th and 3 coming up, and now maybe do you break it out? Go for that toss over the middle now that you've brought the defense up a couple plays in a row.
I think you're right, Joey.
They go out to Glatz. Glatz dropped it. Canton thinks the ball is loose. I didn't hear a whistle, but it won't matter. It's a turnover on downs.
And they had that play sniffed out the whole way. He was right there, and out of the corner of his eye, he saw the Canton defense right there, and there was 2-3 guys, and if he would have caught that ball, he might have paid the price.
Canton's last 2 defensive stops mirror each other closely. Right around this spot on the field. Last time out, the Morton offense turned it over on a 4th and 9. That was 4th and 3, but the Canton defense answers the call. A terrific battle here in the early stages, working about halfway through quarter number 2. Morton 7, Canton 6. Canton looking to get back into the lead, or I should say in the lead for the first time tonight. Oldfield with a keeper, and that Morton defensive line steps up.
Now, I want to say this is a defensive game, but, I mean, the score's a little bit deceiving. There's been some great offense tonight. A lot of great plays, and two touchdowns have been called back, and this score could look a lot different, but defense isn't slipping up on either side.
Two things that have really stood out to me, Ryan. First for Morton, it's how versatile and dynamic that offense has been. There's not really been one bread and butter play they've gone to. For Canton, it's how they've executed their bread and butter plays a couple of times tonight. Oldfield rolling right. Looking for one over that time to Colton Hess, and Hess couldn't turn back towards it in time. Third down coming up. But to my point a minute ago, Ryan, it seems like Canton, they've been so hard to stop on those runs from Wallace and especially those out routes.
Yeah, and right there I think they were trying to set something up because they've ran that out route about three, four times now. And I think they were looking to run something else off it because it's in that corner's mind that they're going to keep running that play, and then all of a sudden he stops and he's running past you.
3rd and 9, Oldfield steps up in the pocket. He's going to be brought down. 2 Potters in on the stop, and you can see that energy on the Morton bench. Connor Hines was in on that one, as was Noah Losey.
Oldfield, loss of 3.
It's a big sack, loss of 3, and that's got to set up, you'd figure at least, a punt for Canton.
And this is when it gets tricky. Line needs to block here. The last thing you need is a blocked punt because it might end up on a touchdown on the same play.
Timeout called by Morton. And we'll take this quick break to remind you as we await the punt that tonight's coverage is brought to you by Jake Weston State Farm in Washington, Illinois. For all your insurance needs, give Jake Weston a call at 309-444-4441. It's the old Jake from State Farm bit. Jake Weston, an excellent partner for so much we do on ClutchSportsIL.com and 1011 ESPN Peoria. That's where Larry Larson and John Camosa are tonight. It's another great battle in the Mid-Illini Conference, Pekin and Dunlap. A terrific Pekin team this season. Kanye Tyler has snagged a lot of headlines, star running back for the Dragons. Get a score on that one in just a moment for you at home. But right now, 4th and 12 for Canton, and that offensive line, they got a block, as that is 7-0 Pekin. 5:18 left in the second quarter, so Brian, not unlike the game we've got in front of us here, at least by looking at that score.
Yeah, a couple really good defensive battles, it looks like, throughout the conference.
Well, not in Metamora.
Yeah, besides that one.
That was 42-0 for the Redbirds over the East Peoria Raiders last
now,
we checked.
If you're Morton, do you send a couple guys here?
I would, personally.
Yeah.
You might as well.
With time running out, too. They're getting down there.
3:38 left in the quarter, and a second consecutive timeout. This is from Canton, so we've seen 2 timeouts. A big 4th and 12 coming up, and I would, especially bearing in mind Canton's extra point attempt following the Kai Correa touchdown earlier. That resulted in a blocked extra point. Not quite apples to apples, punts to field goal attempts, but you've got to figure that special teams unit for Morton.
I mean, really not a ton to lose, because if you block it, you got it on the 1 yard line, and I don't think we're going to see any 50, 60 yard punts here. So either way, they're going to have really good range.
See how they elect to play it. 4th and 12 coming up. I would not advocate a fake punt in this circumstance, but maybe Morton gets too aggressive too and leaves something open for Canton. Canton has executed well tonight. Don't think we'll see that, but we'll see. 4th and 12. Looks like Morton's going to play this a little more conservatively, though. They've got 2 back to return it. A couple break through,
good
and
punt.
it's a decent punt
really
indeed.
Good punt.
It's going to go out of bounds. Stayed inbounds. They whistled it out. It might have bounced out on the sideline. They'll mark it down at the 49-yard line.
And I now take back what I said about us not seeing any punts, because that was a really good punt.
That was a 49-yard punt from the goal line to the 49.
All right, so my prediction was correct then. I said 50 to 60. So.
You've been right on it with a lot of those plays, though. We'll give you a pass for that one. That was a terrific punt. And that was with a couple back from Morton. You know, they didn't bring the house by any means. That was a punt that found the side. That was about as good as Canton could have hoped for there. 1st and 10 for Morton. Time winding down in the second quarter. Potters are going to try something here. It's Saddam, and he's brought down for a gain of 3. Little trickery, tried to bounce it back towards us on the near side, but again, that Canton front line has stepped up so many times. Not a lot of missed tackles at all from Canton.
And what that tells me is Canton's ready. Their coaches prepared them well. They had to have seen that play on film, and because that's twice now where nobody was fooled. Everyone stayed home. Great job by Canton.
2nd down and 9. Kaufman looking deep, and that pass is overthrown. Intended for Hudson Strube. Strube broke free down the sidelines. Did a nice job of breaking 3, and again, a terrific throw from Kaufman, just a little too much on it, but we've seen plenty of displays of arm strength from both him and Nick Oldfield tonight.
I'd love to see the Little Giants throw a little more, just because I want to see him show off his arm. I mean, that one pass, even though it was incomplete, I mean, it shot out of his hand.
3rd and 9. See if Kaufman goes back to that. It's a clear backfield. Pressure comes. Screen up front, and this is a good chance for Morton. Breaking it up the field is Tyson Hart. Hart, 3 guys to beat. Slices it outside. Is he in? He is. Touchdown Potters. It's Tyson Hart. Tyson Hart with a brilliant move to break free. Took down 3 Little Giants. Canton with that last-second effort to get him at the goal line fell just a touch short, and Morton, pending the extra point, could go ahead by 8.
And what a great play there. Got all the linemen out of there. Little running back, throw it right over the big wall lineman and let him run.
Lane Kaufman to Tyson Hart. I said he might display the arm strength. It is a touchdown pass, but a very different kind of pass. Threw it on a dot to Hart, and Hart made it happen from there. Extra point pending for Morton. It's up and good, and the Potters are ahead 14-6.
No good.
Pulled a Jay Feely, if you will, peering out of the press box. So it's a 7-point game, 13-6. One for the blooper reel at the end of the season, I suppose. But this sets up an interesting opportunity for Canton. I mentioned it earlier. Morton returned the opening kick. So Canton has a chance to get it at halftime. And this is where Nick Wright can, or coming out of halftime, I should say. But this is where Canton head coach Nick Wright can play with a few things. You go down, you get a score here. You've got the ball coming out of the half. You've got a chance to swing this by 2 scores.
And the missed extra point is huge for them, too, because on the first touchdown, Canton missed their extra point, or it got blocked, rather. So this is a big chance to tie it up this half, too, or maybe go for 2 for the lead. But
last time we saw Canton football on ClutchSportsIL.com was late October 2019 at Dunlap. If you remember that one, Little Giants scored with 20 seconds left in the 4th quarter. Down 7, went for 2. Eagles defense stepped up and stopped them. That win would have gone a long way towards getting Canton into the 2019 playoffs. Wallace is going to let this one go out of bounds, and that was risky. It's going to pay off for Canton because they're going to get a big advancement with that flag for the kickoff out of bounds, but that was really close to staying in, and Morton was bringing the house. That would have been a fumble recovery.
Yeah, and this sideline was holding their breath, that was for sure. It slowed down right at the end. It had some heat on it, but right towards the sideline, really smart play to let it roll out of bounds, though.
It does wind up working for Canton. A brilliant play from Lashawn Wallace. I believe it rolled out at the 13, if my memory serves correct, and now they get it at the 35. 65 yards in front of the Little Giants, just over 2 minutes to get the job done. It's Lashawn Wallace staying up after a big hit, and now he's wrapped up and brought down. They will give him 4 yards of forward progress. We have a halftime score in Pekin for you. It's Pekin 7, Dunlap still scoreless. Kanye Tyler with a 2-yard touchdown run. That's the difference through the first 2 quarters over there. Big test for both teams in their first Mid-Illini Conference game. Pass out to the sideline, caught, and what an effort from Jake Miller to extend it over the first down marker. Jake Miller had the fumble earlier, but he stepped up and made a couple of big plays since. Great football IQ to reach out and get the first down.
7-yard gain.
Stops the clock briefly, now it winds, minute 50. Another halftime score for you. It's Metamora 49, East Peoria scoreless. Redbirds will likely move to 3-0. Here's Wallace again. And Wallace, right when he gets to that first down marker, he knows exactly when to drop the hammer.
And I said this earlier, I'll say it again. I'm excited to see the running backs in the Mid-Illini Conference this year. It seems like everyone has one, and both teams tonight have, Morton has multiple, and there's just been some great running backs this year, and I'm really excited for this conference play.
Sedam and Glatz for Morton. How about Lashawn Wallace again for Canton? Puts the shoulder down, does it again. He's going to get inside the 25-yard line. Lashawn Wallace.
And also great downfield blocking. No one gave up on that play.
Lashawn Wallace, 18 yards.
Canton, a team that will fight and will claw, and they've gotten a lot better, clearly, since their first 2 losses to start the season. Dropping back, Oldfield. Oldfield over the middle in a dangerous pass intended for Colton Hess.
Oldfield pass incomplete.
Hess and Oldfield couldn't connect there, and he threw that in the vicinity of 2 defenders that really wanted it. 2nd and 10 coming up. Just over a minute left. Canton has 1 timeout to play with.
Now, if Canton can score here, then get the ball back at the half, like you said, that'd be huge.
That time a huge stop as Lashawn Wallace got the handoff, and we'll see if Canton wants to burn that timeout. They will have to, and they will take it with 55 seconds left in the half.
Wallace lost at 3. Can't use his 3rd and final timeout in the first half.
But Ryan, thinking about it, losing that timeout for Canton, not the end of the world, because so much of their offense has run towards the sidelines, those out routes to either side of the field. And bearing in mind that a first down would be a brief stop as the chains get set, plenty of time to score here if you can.
And drive by drive, each team has kind of showed a different pace. They were going high pace, and then sometimes Canton slows it down with those out routes, like you said, 10-yard hitches, getting out of bounds, stopping the clock. And then sometimes Morton keeps it up pace, but we also saw that first drive by them ate up a lot of clock. I'm looking for some trickery here too.
We've seen Morton do a couple of tricky things in the backfield, a couple of options, a couple of end arounds, fakes, reverses, you name it. Morton's done it. Canton has been a little more by the book, but they've been just as effective, I should say. Oldfield again with Wallace, 3 receivers. Wallace rolls out of the pocket to his right, and that pass dropped.
Great defense.
I was going to say, you call that a drop, but it's an excusable one. Dylan Watts, the intended target.
And perfectly timed hit by the defense there, and just overall great defense.
Sets up 4th down and 13. And Ryan, the design of that play would have gotten Canton about half of what they needed, give or take a little bit. Now they've got to get the whole deal in one play. No timeouts. Play clock down to 5. Canton's going to have to take a penalty here. That play clock's at 3. They're not going to be able to snap it. They do get it off in time. It's Wallace. And Wallace bounces it out. Wallace didn't get quite enough. He's out of bounds at the 11. And it's at the 9 is where they needed to get. Wallace with a great effort, but isn't going to quite get there. 9 yards. Or no, call that, pardon me, 11 yards. They needed 13. 41.7 showing on the board as you see at the bottom of your screen. And not the end of the world for Canton.
And I really like the way Morton had their defense set up there. You gotta stop, because obviously they're not going to run anything up the middle. They're going to go outside and very well defended.
Not the end of the world for Canton, but a huge boost for Morton. Canton's got to come up with one more stop. Morton will run it. That's Glatz, and Glatz brought down right where he started. And it doesn't appear the Potters will be overly aggressive trying to end this first half of play. They will let it wind. And Ryan, you wouldn't take one more shot here if you're Morton, would you? Just probably let it go?
I'm going to let it go here because you just can't risk the interception, fumble recovery for a touchdown. I mean, that would be devastating.
Play clock is at 15. The game clock down to 7. This will be the end of the first half. And it will end with Morton ahead on Canton, 13-6. What a half we saw. The pick six from Morton, or pardon me, from Canton, put the Little Giants on the board. 2 touchdowns from the Potters. On the offensive side of the ball has them ahead by 7. Both teams have missed an extra point. But Ryan, I think it's safe to say this isn't the game we thought we would see at the onset.
I mean, we talked about it. I said it's going to be a great offensive game, and I guess that's why I'm not a coach. But it's been great defense. Couple mistakes by Morton probably cost them a touchdown or 2. But overall, great game. Canton's in this thing, and even though they're down at the half, but overall just really, really well coached both teams.
I got to disagree with you maybe a little because I think you said it earlier, the score deceiving, but I think it has been a terrific offensive game. Both teams just a little bit off, but they are right where they need to be. It's 13-6 favoring Morton at the halftime break. You will continue to see the Canton band on the field, but Ryan and I will take a break and come back for the second half in just a little bit. We'll recap the first and get you ready for the second, plus some scores from around the area. But before we do, we'll take a quick break to remind you that tonight's coverage is brought to you by Jake Weston State Farm in Washington, Illinois. For all your insurance needs, Jake Weston is your guy. Give him a call today at 309-444-4441. Jake Weston also on board for our Peak and Dunlap broadcast tonight on 101.1 ESPN Peoria. That second half may well get started a little bit before our second half does, so Dunlap and Pekin on 101.1 ESPN Peoria. Check that out if you're in the area or on ESPNPeoria.com. But as I said a moment ago, Ryan and I will take that break for halftime. Come back for the first half recap and the second half on ClutchSportsIL.com. Back in Canton, Illinois, it's Mid-Illini Conference football on ClutchSportsIL.com. Joey Wright and Ryan Vogel back in with you after a closely contested first half. It's Morton 13, Canton 6 coming out of the halftime break. You see at the bottom of your screen, both teams have just about 2 minutes to continue warming up and get ready for the second half. And Ryan, before we get into our second half of action in Canton, let's take a look at some out-of-town scores, if you will. A couple of scores from around the area. In the fourth quarter, Metamora is ahead of East Peoria 49-6. East Peoria has scored since the last time we brought that score to you. Tremont ahead of Leroy 42-6. Knoxville up on Stark County 55-7. Not a particularly close game down in Knoxville. Bloomington 14, Manual scoreless in the fourth quarter. A Manual team that's trending in the right direction. Chance for a big win against Bloomington. Eureka has Hayworth's number tonight, 35-0 in the fourth quarter. Normal Community and Richwoods, another tough one for Richwoods, 42-0 in the third quarter. Last week we had their 58-0 loss against Peoria Notre Dame. Peoria Notre Dame a winner against Urbana this week by forfeit. Princeville and Anawan. Anawan 8, Princeville 6. Looking for a Big 12 score here. It's Peoria and Danville locked up at 28 in the third quarter. That's a good one. Illinois Valley Central trailing Unity 35-14 in the second half there. And a couple Mid-Illini scores to round it out. Washington 37, Limestone scoreless at halftime. Pekin up on Dunlap 7-0 at halftime. A good one there, a good test for both Dunlap and Pekin. And of course, in Canton tonight, 13-6 Morton at halftime. But Ryan, a terrific first half. Either side could come out of the gate strong, with Canton set to return the opening kick, or the second half kick, I should say.
And like you said, this has been a pretty good offensive game, despite what the score says. Morton 13, Canton 6. There's been some offensive explosions, but a couple penalties and some good defense on both sides has held that back.
See how it all plays out. It's been a fun one thus far. Joey Wright and Ryan Vogel in with you. Evan Johnson doing a great job on our computer. John Michael, best camera operator in the Mid-Illini Conference, doing a great job down amongst the fans in Canton. As Morton is set to send it away, the second half is underway on ClutchSportsIL.com. Fielded at the 20-yard line. Nothing going that time for Canton. Canton got lucky the last time Morton kicked off and watched it sail out of bounds. That one fell just a little bit short of Joseph Norton. And the Canton offense will start at the 19-yard line. So what is the recipe for Canton here? First drive out of the second half.
I really liked how they were using that little 10-yard hitch play to start off each drive. That seemed to work. We'll see if they can get that rolling, but they just need to connect on a couple deep balls and give it to this guy right here.
And that guy is Wallace, Lashawn Wallace to be exact. Another first down. Wallace has picked up a couple of those as he moves the chains. One play, one first down for Canton in quarter number 3.
Blake
Shoemaker in on the tackle, and Canton off to a good start. Now 3 wide receivers, quarterback Nick Oldfield and Lashawn Wallace in the backfield. Oldfield rolls out of the pocket left. Here's a deep ball down the field and just overthrown. Couldn't quite connect with Watts, but there's that shot down the field that you wanted.
Oh yeah, and fairly well defended too.
Sets up second down and 10 for the Little Giants here. On a shot downfield for Watts. Here's Oldfield. Oldfield looking over the middle. It's caught, and that's the tight end, Jake Miller. Jake Miller, if you're just joining us, has had a great game for the Little Giants. Fumbled in the first quarter, But we only say that because it's been a great redemption arc since. He's made a couple of big plays. Such a high football IQ for Miller. Seems like every time he's got the ball, he's aware of his situation, reaching for the first down marker, trying to get a couple extra yards, and he has made a big difference for Canton since that fumble. Canton with 4 wide receivers. Wallace in the backfield. Wallace watches as Oldfield takes it himself, and Nick Oldfield across the 40. He's going to stay on his feet past the 35-yard line, and Nick Oldfield. We've seen him make a couple of throws with his arm. There's the leg.
And both teams have a lot of elusive players. I mean, right there, that's great field awareness on the cutback. Got himself about 10, 12 more yards.
Oldfield gets the Canton offense going, and Canton, if they can punch it in, they've got a chance to tie it or take the lead should they elect to go for 2. There's Oldfield. Gets the play call from head coach Nick Wright and returns to the huddle. Nick Wright in his 3rd season at the helm of this Little Giants program. Went to Canton, played at Canton, was around for those great teams of the late 2000s. Now trying to key an upset against Morton as Wallace is rebuffed. And the Morton defensive front steps up. So just as the Little Giants key some momentum, Morton answers. Wallace stuff for no gain. You see a couple of those Potters defenders there. 2nd and 10 coming up. We'll see what the recipe is here. 3-man front for Morton. Oldfield surveys, steps up. He's going to take it himself. Morton brings a crew, and 3 white jerseys take him down.
And about that last play, number 17, Tyson Hart, I've seen him in a ton of plays tonight, and he showed his strength off right there. He nearly picked him up and threw him, but he's been all over the defense tonight.
Tyson Hart, as you said, he's broken free. He's run a lot of great routes down the field. He's been open so often on the offensive side of the ball. Morton has a lot of great two-way players. We've seen Seth Glatz in on some tackles. That Potters defense has stepped up. They've held the Little Giants to just 6 points as Wallace is stopped again. And it seems, Ryan, that they've kind of found an answer for Lashawn Wallace, who in the first half and even into the second half, as you saw a moment ago, has broken off so many big runs. But it seems like more and more that Morton defense has the answer. They get to the right spot, they get where they need to be quicker, and that puts them in good spots to make tackles.
And what I think that they talked about in the locker room was really getting low on the tackles. Wallace was lowering his shoulder the whole first half and trucking over those guys and getting 5-6 more yards. But now they're getting low, shoestring type tackles, get low, and you can't get trucked if you're low.
4th down and 3, Oldfield and Wallace. Oldfield steps up. He's going to get close. We'll see where they spot it. The line to gain was the 23.
Ooh, that's a pretty good spot.
They're going to have to bring the chains out from here. To me, it looks like he's just a touch short.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Pretty generous spot as well.
Oldfield did what he could. They're going to bring the chains out. And this is the second time we've seen the chain gang enter the playing field. We'll see what we can see. It looks to me like this is going to mirror the first time they came out, and that's a turnover on downs for Canton. See what we can see, and he is about a yard short. And that was, as you said, with a favorable spot, but nevertheless a great effort from Oldfield. And now it goes back to the Canton defense. But I want to go back to a point you made a moment ago, Ryan, and that's low man always wins. They'll tell you that in so many sports. I remember hearing that in the wrestling room a lot. My time as a wrestler, they teach you that in basketball. If you can get low into that defensive stance, that'll put you in a good position to pick up a steal. And football and wrestling share that commonality where it'll help you make the tackle.
Especially when you don't have the size as well. It's huge for those little guys. I remember I paid the price a few times until I learned to get low. I would get trucked.
But if you can get low, that does a lot for you. And that's as a ball carrier, as we've seen so many shoulders and helmets go down, or trying to get the tackle. And both these running backs that we've seen, I should say all three of these running backs that we've seen with Ashton Sudham as well, they know how to get low. 2nd and 10. Keeper for Kaufman. Lane Kaufman into space. Lane Kaufman past the 45.
And a great read by Kaufman as well to not hand that ball off.
Kaufman under center, as Oldfield does, has such a high football IQ, knows where to go, knows what decisions to make. That's what you need in an option offense. As he sends 3 receivers out. Receiver set for Morton. Shotgun formation. Kaufman a handoff. And a nice run that time from, I believe that was Messenger. So Morton continuing to run the ball. Malachi Correa comes in on the tackle, and they've done a couple of things now. Seth Glatt's not on the field. Keeper for Kaufman again. Kaufman bounces it outside. He's still on his feet. Kaufman, Greenfield in front of him. One Little Giant might have an angle. He doesn't. Touchdown, Morton, Lane Kaufman. Goes 49 yards, and the Potters are ahead by 2 scores for the first time tonight.
And I said this a couple times, what a burst of speed around the edge, too. There's been multiple times where Canton defenders have had a good angle, and they just simply get outran.
Lane Kaufman, the quarterback, on an option, goes 49 yards, and that's a big touchdown for Morton. Takes the crowd out of it. You can feel the energy. A little less than it was at halftime. Canton not out of it, but they'll have to step up. Extra point pending from Jackson Weber, the Potters senior. Hold is good, snap is good, and the kick that time, I can say with certainty, is good. Weber now 2 of 3 on his extra point attempts. 20-6. And it feels like just with the snap of a finger, we're halfway through the 3rd quarter, a quick moving 3rd quarter. If you're just joining us here in the 2nd half, Canton moved the ball well on its first drive out of the halftime gates. Came about a yard short of a 4th down conversion, turned it over on downs. Morton just took over, and Lane Kaufman went the distance. Good on offense. They've not scored an offensive touchdown yet tonight, but you've kind of figured they've been so close so many times to clicking, they just haven't gotten that missing piece yet.
And to me, this is going to be one of the key drives of the game for Canton. If they can't answer here and you give Morton another chance to score with the amount of weapons they have, it's going to be really tough to come back.
Weber with a short kick. Ball nearly came free, but a nice job by Isaiah Session to maintain possession. Session made a move for that and lost it. He dove and nearly cost Canton, but Canton maintained. And a score update for you. Pekin 7, Dunlap 7, heading to the 4th quarter in Pekin. That is a packed Pekin Memorial Stadium. We've got our Clutch Sports Media crew there on 101.1 ESPN Peoria, so that'll be a fun one to keep an eye on as we move through this one.
And it takes a lot to pack that stadium up, too. It is huge.
Holds 10,000, 5,000 on each side, and a dangerous pass that time. Colton Hess got a hand on it. Looked like he lost his traction. And that's something to keep an eye on. Anytime you've got a natural grass surface, it wasn't a particularly humid day in Canton, but as the sun goes down, as we start to get deeper into the night, all that humidity in the air, all that moisture starts to settle, and the field does get a little more slippery in the 2nd half. Second down and 10. Morton shows blitz, handoff to Wallace, and the blitz wins. Morton with a big stop on 2nd and 10. Looked like an outside rush that time for Morton.
It seems that we're not really seeing the same aggressiveness, that offensive aggressiveness that Canton had in the first half. I really think they need to get the tempo back up. The offense was really working better when they had the tempo up.
What do you think the play call is here on a big 3rd down and 13?
Little wheel route.
Oldfield rolling. Surveys in
Good
front
pass.
of him.
Great
and a
pass.
Great pass indeed to Miller. Miller tried to keep going forward. I thought he was out of bounds. View a little bit obstructed by the gold helmets of that Canton bench. But again, another second effort from Miller, and now it's 4th and 2. No offensive touchdowns for Canton, but 2 turnovers on downs. Both of those turnovers, they had to bring the chains out onto the field.
And 2 things I'm looking here. I'm either looking for the 5-10 yard hitch, or I'm looking for a Wallace power run up the middle.
Wallace has dropped the shoulder a couple of times tonight. 4th and 2. Canton crowd getting into it. And a jump on the line. Did Morton go first? I believe they did. And that goes against the Potters. Morton did jump first. A neutral zone infraction. And Ryan, that's how you pick up the 1st down without having to snap the ball.
There you go.
As much as we've talked about Wallace and Oldfield and company tonight, that offensive line for Canton has been right there.
Oh, yeah. They've set up a ton of good runs for Wallace tonight. A lot of good downfield blocking as well.
And a downfield pass that time. Getting out is Plumer, and Turner Plumer lunged for it, did all he could, just couldn't quite extend to that one. 2nd and 10.
We've seen that multiple times from both sides now. A lot of overthrows. Better than underthrows that end in interceptions, though.
That's right. As long as you can get it past that secondary, you're in good shape. Cost you a clock stoppage and a loss of down, of course, on the incompletion. But both quarterbacks have, I don't think we've seen an underthrow. We've seen maybe a tip pass or 2, but by and large, both quarterbacks air it out. Here's Oldfield. Oldfield rolls. Oldfield far side to Miller. Miller got hit. It was a nice job on the Morton defense to break that up.
And he had him, little scramble drill there, and he had a guy open, but I think he heard footsteps.
Morton defensive line did a nice job of breaking through, and a lot of these plays, Ryan, to me look like design rollouts for Oldfield, but that Morton defense has applied pressure, and they've not left a ton really open down the field for Oldfield. He's had to make a lot of great throws to get it in there. As Oldfield again drops back. There's that wheel route to Wallace. Lashawn Wallace. There's that shoulder past the 40-yard line. What a display of physicality tonight from Lashawn Wallace. It has been a lot of fun to watch.
And that just got some energy back in the crowd. This crowd is back in it, as you heard right there.
It's a big 1st down. They'll spot it at the 38-yard line. Pay dirt approaching. We'll see if that Morton defense has another big stop left. 4 wide receivers, but it's going to be Wallace getting the handoff. Wallace stays on his feet again, stays on his feet. Yeah, they're going to have to blow that dead. 2 Morton Potters couldn't bring him down. Despite the best efforts of Brent England and Blake Shoemaker, I don't believe that his knee ever touched the ground. They blew it dead, of course, a good call there, but he is not going down easy tonight. Same set, 4 wide receivers. This time Oldfield will fire it out quickly, and that's caught by Plumer. Plumer caught it with his knee on the ground, so they immediately blow it dead, but he gets it past the 30-yard line. And Turner Plumer's a name we've called a lot tonight, a player that Canton head coach Nick Wright told us on Wednesday he wanted to integrate into the offense. Ryan, you get the feeling that he could be a key player down the stretch.
Yes, and one thing that's huge for high school is he's a consistent catch nearly every time. If you throw it in his direction, he's going to grab it.
Oldfield keeper. Oldfield past the 20. Stays up. Now he's brought down as the Morton Potters converge at the 19-yard line. And they've started to integrate Nick Oldfield's legs into the offense a lot more in the second half.
And it looks like Wallace could do it all there. He's tying one of his linemen's shoes.
Mentioned earlier, that's always a great relationship between any running back and his offensive line. Oldfield airing one out, end zone, and just over the outstretched hand of Jake Miller. Another overthrow. As you said, you want to leave it deep, but those have added up for both quarterbacks.
And also a great route. He really separated himself from the defender and gave himself a chance, but just a little bit too much.
2nd down and 10. This Canton drive has spanned roughly 4 minutes of clock time. 4 wide receivers, keeping an eye on Plumer towards us. 3 out far side. It's going to go to Plumer. Plumer catch at the 13-yard line, in past the 10. Turner Plumer heating up the junior. Plays both sides of the ball quite well.
Nine-yard gain.
First and, no, pardon me. Yes, 3rd and 1, there we go. 3rd and 1. 3rd and 1, and it's gonna be a keeper for Oldfield. Oldfield is in, touchdown, Little Giants. Nick Oldfield does it all.
And you can thank the lineman. That one, you could have driven a semi-truck through that hole.
Offensive line opened up a huge hole for Nick Oldfield, the senior quarterback. Puts the Little Giants back within reach. Extra point pending would make it a 7-point game. That drive was set up by a lot of great runs from Lashawn Wallace. Oldfield caps it himself. Extra point on the way, line drive, sails through the uprights, and it's a 7-point game in Canton. Don't go anywhere. ClutchSportsIL.com has a good one for you. This one of 2 great Mid-Illini Conference openers in the area. Dunlap and Pekin have a good one for you. A final score for you. Metamora East Peoria has gone final. It's the first final score of the night. 49-6 Redbirds. They jumped out to a 42-0 lead before halftime, and they finish it off. To stay current on all the final scores going tonight, Journal-Star has the Preps experience going on their website. That's where we get a lot from. The Journal-Star's helped us out tremendously, so keep that up in a different tab. Journal-Star's got you hooked up with scores from all around the area. We'll take a quick break to remind you, and it's going to be a very quick break as kickoff approaches, that Jake Weston is a proud sponsor of Clutch Sports Media. Jake from State Farm has all your insurance needs. A phone number that's pretty easy to remember, 309-444-4441. Jake Weston does a lot for Clutch Sports Media, also a proud partner of our 101.1 ESPN Peoria broadcast. Glad to have him with us tonight. Pooched up at the 40-yard line, sliding in to make a nice catch was Blake Shoemaker. Shoemaker has been targeted a lot on those kickoffs. And steps up for a big play once again. And a score courtesy of the Journal-Star's Adam Duvall. Pekin 13, Dunlap 7. It's a Scott Jordan touchdown run from the 1-yard line. Punches it in. And Scott Jordan, a great young quarterback for the Pekin Dragons, puts them ahead by 6. Morton leading by 7 here in Canton. This game, the brunt of our focus, and for good reason, as the Potters start their second drive of the half. Handoff and space. This is going to be a big run for the Potters. And just like that, Morton back ahead by 2 scores. And that silences the crowd. Morton punches that in, and folks, unfortunately, we do not have a 35 listed on our roster. One was not provided to us, and I should say a Morton roster was provided to us, but missing a 35, unfortunately, so our apologies there. But regardless, that's one of the few chunk plays we've seen on the ground from Morton tonight. Seth Glatz opened up a couple of holes early and did a few nice things, but by and large, their chunkers came from Lane Kaufman and from their receivers. As the extra point sails up and good from Weber. That makes it a 27-13 ball game. And that is the last thing Canton wanted to see, Ryan, as you felt like maybe they had just turned a corner on offense. Still not out of it. Both teams have 3 timeouts and everything of the like, a lot of time to go, but now they've got to answer quickly just to get back to where they were about a minute ago.
Yeah, and an answer here and then some kind of stop. They need a turnover. Energize.
2-score game, 14 points the difference between Morton and Canton. Morton 1-1. A win against Galesburg last week and a season-opening loss at home against LaSalle Peru.
And I actually believe 35 is Seth Glatz. That's why we haven't been seeing
Has
Seth
he changed?
Glatz.
That's kind of what I speculated.
And I was going to say, I know someone else with a burst of speed like that now.
Certainly Seth Glatz-esque, and we'll see if we can get an explanation for you on that. And that would not shock me if maybe he had a jersey malfunction, maybe a tear or something go wrong, and they had a spare 35 lying around, because we do not have a 35 on our material or the roster that was provided to us by Morton. I want to thank Morton Athletic Director Scott Jones and Canton Athletic Director Brad Hewlett for all their hospitality. Our 101.1 ESPN radio game will be in Morton next week, so looking forward to that. As this is a pass to Jake Miller. Miller from Oldfield got close to the first down. They'll mark him just a touch short, but Jake Miller continues to put forth a great effort.
9-yard advancement.
But want to thank Scott Jones and Brad Hewlett both for their hospitality and allowing us to put on a great broadcast. Or I hope it's great, I should say. I'll leave that for the viewers to decide. 2nd and 1, as they marked Miller just a bit short, but good effort that time. As we've seen time and time again from Lashawn Wallace, will take care of that. Canton picks up the yard and a first down.
2 yards.
Pekin goes ahead 27, by the way. We have a score update for you there. They have recovered a fumble and scored.
Ian Muchler, the tackle for Morton.
So a fresh set of downs. It's 1st and 10. This may well be the final play of the 3rd quarter, depending on if they can complete a pass and keep it in bounds, and it's overthrown for Plumer.
Oldfield for Plummer incomplete.
Or pardon me, Turner Plummer on that. So Plummer watches that one sail above his head.
And we've seen it a few times. Canton's had a lot of open guys downfield. Their receivers do a great job separating from the corner and the safeties. And just like we said, there's been a lot of overthrows in this game, not just on Canton's side, but on both sides.
And a couple we've seen from Canton, not only on this drive, but the last time out. Last time they were able to punch it in and score a touchdown. Canton head coach Nick Wright stressed execution. And our talk with him on Wednesday. Handoff up the middle, Wallace, first down and more. And a flag comes in late, but that one ought to stand, and I wouldn't be surprised if maybe that's a late hit against Morton. We'll await the call.
16-yard gain for Wallace, however, there's a marker down.
That flag came in right at the end of the play. And a face mask.
Face mask against Morton.
So with just under 13 seconds left in the quarter, I should say, they'll wind the clock. I think that'll let the quarter expire, but That's a big boost for Canton as we switch fields and get going for the fourth.
Yeah, and with the score right here, I mean, they are by no means out of this ball game.
27-13 at halftime. Canton not out of it, but they need to get going. Morton has opened up a 14-point lead. 2 scores for the Potters in quarter number 3, just 1 for Canton. All 3 of those scores touchdowns. As the fourth quarter looms large. Take a quick break to remind you that tonight's coverage is brought to you by Jake Weston State Farm in Washington, Illinois. For all your insurance needs, give Jake Weston a call today. Well, maybe it's getting a little late on a Friday night, but give Jake Weston a call at 309-444-4441. Leave a message. It's 9:30 on a Friday night, so
might be past his bedtime.
Yeah. He's probably at home watching our broadcast, or he's obviously from Washington. Played at Washington for Darryl Crouch and company, so maybe he's likely at the stadium tonight. But Jake Weston at 309-444-4441. Call him on Monday. As we get set for the fourth quarter, 27-13. Canton driving. What's the move for Canton here? Do they go back to Old Field? Wallace has been key all game long.
I mean, Wallace seems to be the key right now. Feed him while he's hot.
First play of the fourth quarter. It's a give back to Wallace. And Lashawn Wallace.
And wow, was there a small window to pitch that.
Yeah, that was a good read from Old Field. And Colton Hess was in on that as well. Wallace was only able to get one, but Oldfield has made a lot of good decisions, as has Hess was in on that, had a role in that option as well. Four receivers. Wallace, the running back, accompanies Oldfield, and it's a pitch out to the right side. Far side, nice reception from Turner Plummer.
Oldfield complete.
And that has been a big takeaway for me, is how accurate Oldfield has been on those passes, those out routes. Overthrown a couple of those deep balls, but by and large, when he's thrown it to the sidelines, he's got it there, and he gets it there in a hurry.
Yeah, they've been huge, especially on first down. It's automatic 5 yards right there, 6 yards, and then you give it to Wallace, and that's kind of been their offensive plan.
Needing 3 yards on third down. Do you go back to that here, or do you do maybe a power run with Wallace, keeper for Oldfield?
I like Wallace here.
Low snap. Wallace is the one that picks it up, and he's going to create something out of nothing. Wallace to the end zone. Touchdown, Canton. Lashawn Wallace.
He just did everything himself. He picked up the snap, dropped a couple guys. Great run.
That may be the play of the night for the junior running back. It was a tough snap to Oldfield. He might have had a hand in shoveling that to Wallace, and he said, hey, here you go, do the rest.
And something to laugh about, these teams put in all these plays all week, and they practice all these plays, and the one where it's snapped right to the running back on accident ends up in a touchdown. And that's just, this game has been great.
Kai Correa on for the extra point. 1 of 2 on his extra points. First one was blocked, but that one sails through, and it's a 7-point game in Canton again. And I've got to tell you, Ryan, I know that was a broken play, not how they drew it up, but with Wallace's ability to show that burst of speed, his acceleration, and his ability to finish and keep going, that's not a bad option to snap it straight to him and send him straight up the gut.
A little bit of wildcat action.
Yeah. Kanye Tyler over in Pekin. We're keeping a close eye on this Pekin game. He's just rushed for a 42-yard touchdown run. 160 yards so far for Tyler. Pekin 20, Dunlap 7. Doing our best to keep you up to date on all the scores from around the Mid-Illini Conference. That is the only game, that Pekin-Dunlap game in the conference still going, that appears to be in doubt. Washington got out to a big lead over Limestone, and Metamora has already defeated East Peoria this evening. And it looks like Pekin is on their way to a win against Dunlap. Not sure how much time is left, but the Dragons trying to establish themselves as a force in this conference. Great history in that program. Kai Correa, another pooch kick. This is sent to the 30-yard line, and Morton's going to try to return this. First time tonight they've tried this. This is Mack Anderson. Anderson stays on his feet to the 40-yard line. And Mack Anderson, a senior, makes a big play. We've seen a lot of kicks to Blake Shoemaker, and Shoemaker's been quick to take a knee, but not Mack Anderson that time.
And like I said earlier, having a kicker that can pooch kick it like that is great, but sometimes you pay the price for the short kicks, and it doesn't always work out. And he found a seam there, and he definitely put them in great field position.
Only 40 yards for the Potters to drive. This might be the drive of the game so far. I don't think that's a stretch to say. Potters trying to extend their lead back to 2 scores. Canton needing a defensive stop to keep it within reach. Up the middle that time to 35. Now we presume, as Ryan speculated a moment ago, that 35 is indeed Seth Glatz. We've not seen Seth Glatz in the second half. Morton does not have a 35 listed. 35 has come in and gotten all the carries in the second half, so that's where we put that together from. As they go back to Morton 35. That'll be a flag against Canton. A bit of an excessive takedown there. Horse collar, and it was well after the ball carrier had bounced it out of bounds.
Yeah, just a little bit of an awkward hand placement there, and you can really yank somebody down, and that's obviously why it's a flag.
Flag came in at the 21-yard line, and that will be a horse collar against Canton. And you never want to be too critical, but he was out of bounds at that point. The play had ended. That's free yards that you just don't need to give up, not in this situation. Inside the red zone, they do mark that half the distance to the goal. They say that the ball carrier was out at the 20, spotted at the 10. Kaufman keeps it himself. And you can see how physical this game has become as so many players crash in and converge all in one area. They'll spot it at the 6. Brian, 4-down territory here or not?
I'd say, absolutely.
Trying to punch it in. A touchdown would go a long way. 2nd down and 5 from the 6. Morton could pick up a first down if they can get it to the 1. And it's a handoff. Flag comes in. We'll see what the call is. Pending the penalty, it's a Morton touchdown. And it looks like this one is going to come back. And it is a hold against the Potters. So it does come back. It's costly. Wipes a touchdown off the board. And I've got to imagine that in Morton's practices, Monday and beyond, Tim Briley is going to stress to that offensive line to clean a couple of things up. We've seen a number of holding calls tonight, and that is now the 3rd one, I believe, that's taken a touchdown off the board. 2nd and 10. And ball carrier staying on his feet. He's in. Touchdown, Morton. The Potters go back ahead by 2 scores. It's a big touchdown rush, a 14-yarder. And the Potters ahead by 13, extra point pending. And again, Ryan, not out of it, Canton, but got to figure that it's going to be tough for them to match Morton if it keeps going this way.
Really going to need an answer and a turnover. That's what it's going to take. Because as of right now, this defense is tired. It's getting late, and Morton's driving much easier than they were earlier in the game.
The defense has played a lot of football tonight. Extra point on the way. It was a high arcing kick, but it does go through. 34-20. 9 minutes and 1 second left to play in the game. But we have seen Canton come back. I point back to that Dunlap game 2 years ago. Not quite apples to apples. It was a different head coach at the time, and a lot of those players, of course, have since moved on. A very different world now than it was in October 2019, but a lot in this program will remember that game well. It was at Dunlap. Canton needed to score some late season wins to preserve a chance at the playoffs. Down late at Dunlap. Scored a touchdown down 7 with about 20 seconds left. Went for 2 to try and win the game. And that conversion was stuffed by the Dunlap defensive line. Dunlap wound up a winner in that one, 21-20, and in that game clinched a share of the conference title. Morton kicks it off. Fielded at the 5-yard line. See what the Little Giants can do. Staying on his feet, spinning around. This is going to be a great return. How about that from Ethan Harrison, gets the crowd alive.
I mean, that was something else. He was down about, I thought he was going down about 3 different times.
A couple of spin cycles, and Harrison stays on his feet. First time we've called his name tonight. Only a sophomore, plays 2 ways, a running back and a linebacker. 8 minutes and 48 seconds left. What's the sense of urgency for Canton here?
Tempo up, tempo all the way up. I mean, this is, you practice these types of things in practice late in game when you need to score. They know what to do. They played pretty well tonight on offense, and just like this.
And there's Lashawn Wallace, scored a touchdown on his most recent play, and it's a big gain on that one. Bounces it outside, or rather I should say he's bounced outside. It took a couple of Potters to force him out inside that 30-yard line.
And on purpose or not, good job getting out of bounds too to stop the clock.
It's a 28-yard run. How about Lane Kaufman in on the stop, the Morton quarterback playing 2 ways. And Ryan, this is where you find out what team is conditioned better. Canton with a little more work than Morton to do, down 2 scores, but it's who can summon the most energy. Handoff to Wallace. He doesn't get tired. He's inside the 25, and depending on the spot, might have even gotten it down to the 20. They'll mark him down at the 21, and the chains move.
And I'll tell you, Wallace has ran the same speed on every time he gets the ball, and that's what's made him great in this game. Every time he gets it, he's aggressive, he's not afraid to hit, and he doesn't shy away from anybody.
Phrase pops into my head, it's Energizer Bunny. Wallace has gone, and continued to go tonight. High snap, Oldfield will keep it himself. Oldfield inside the red zone, and he's brought down out of bounds. Morton crowd wants a late hit. They won't get that. It was a relatively benign takedown. Connor Hines in on the stop. There will be times where you've got to go with your momentum, and Ryan, I think Connor Hines did that on that stop.
Yeah, and they showed each other some mutual respect after they slapped each other on the back, so I think the crowd was a little more upset than they were.
It is a great crowd tonight at Ron Fonstock Field.
And Morton didn't travel too shabby as well.
Morton has brought a great crowd on the far side, and they've had a lot of great reason to cheer. Up and on his feet. This is going to be a big run for Canton. Down inside the 5.
Yeah, and he stayed in. Did he stay in bounds?
It's Joseph Norton. It was close. They're going to mark him down at the 2, and the clock
stayed
will
in
wind.
bounds.
But you've got to figure, Ryan, they've moved the ball so effectively. We're just inside of 7 minutes. That clock can afford to tick a little bit as Canton tries to answer the call. Heavy set, 2 wide receivers. Running back again is Wallace. Lashawn Wallace, he's going to get a direct snap, and he's going to score. Lashawn Wallace cuts it to a 1-score game again. You mentioned earlier that Wildcat could be lethal with a running back like Lashawn Wallace. We see that there, and the Little Giants are not out of this one yet.
And if you're Canton, your defense has to be locked in on this drive. This next drive is so big.
On to attempt the extra point again is Kai Correa. First one of the evening was blocked. He's been perfect since. Would make it a 7-point game. It is up, and it is good. Through the uprights, Kai Correa. He's been involved in a couple of different capacities with Canton's game plan tonight. He's made a couple of big tackles, made a couple of extra points. Both teams have missed an extra point, one via a block, the other went wide. It's evened out to where it should be a pretty balanced conclusion to this one. 7-point game. Glad you're with us on ClutchSportsIL.com. A score update for you. Again, Kanye Tyler scores his 3rd touchdown of the night. This one a 17-yarder. 191s on the night for the Pekin junior. Pekin 27, Dunlap 7. 2 minutes left in the 4th quarter. That score courtesy Adam Duvall of the Peoria Journal-Star. Again, the Journal-Star Preps Experience. Great place to go to check out all the scores from around the area as they go final. Check that out, pjstar.com. We're big fans of the Journal-Star at Clutch Sports Media, and Pekin has won that game. 27-7 the final score. That one courtesy of our folks on the ground over there. That was on 101.1 ESPN Peoria. So this the final game in the conference to be contested, and an onside kick. Morton recovers. A surprise onside kick. You can tell Morton's kept that chip. They've got that aggressiveness. They want to win this game in front of a home crowd.
And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not sure, and I got to talk quiet up here, if I'm a fan of that onside kick, because, I mean, there's seven and a half left. I mean, that's plenty of time to get a stop, but they keep the tempo up, aggressive mindset, and you could really go both ways on that.
Trying to catch that defense off guard, but you're right. On the flip side of that coin, it's a short field for Morton. There was a penalty against the Potters assessed there. Did Morton jump? Let's see what this call is here. And I believe Morton with a late hit on that, if I'm not mistaken. I would have to go back and look at it myself. There's the "you can't do that" crowd from the student section. 1st and 10 Morton. Now, though, it serves to function as a decent kick for Canton, and Canton's defense steps up and makes a big play. Right out of the gates, the Canton defense.
And that's the number one thing we mentioned. Right out of the gate, defense is locked in. Sidelines energized, and you can hear this Canton crowd getting into it as well. (34-27). So we now work at under 7 minutes to go. That feeling that we had early on that this would be a good one is held true. Handoff and space, and Morton will go back ahead by 2 scores. It's going to be a 66-yard touchdown run. We have speculated the ball carrier there, Seth Glatz. 35 for Morton. And that really is a killer for the Little Giants, but still almost 7 minutes left. So, like I said, like I keep saying, it seems like I keep repeating this, but they need a stop and a turnover, or just a stop in general.
Morton will come out to attempt another extra point.
Weber will try the extra point.
Weber again, and it's just going to be so hard for these teams to, or Canton especially, is the extra point up and good. It's going to be so hard for Canton to maintain this pace with Morton.
PAT is good.
And we're kind of making up for all those hold calls in the first, lack of scoring, because the score's getting up there now.
We're really, the score has sailed. It was 13-7 at the half, now 41-27, and both offenses are grooving. Make no mistake about that. So we'll await another kickoff, and we'll see what Morton likes to do. Morton does not send it deep often. Or no, I have that backwards. Morton does send it deep often. So we'll see if Canton can put together a good return here. See who they send back to return it. I see Wallace going back there with Joseph Norton, and Joseph Norton had a great return last time out.
We have an announcement today. Clarence Portlock is to leave his mother at a concession stand. Clarence Portlock, please meet your mother at the concession stand.
We're in the press box here at Canton High School, and it was a humorous announcement they just made over the PA system. From the 10-yard line, it's Wallace. Lashawn Wallace looking for a gap. Found a little one, and he's going to stay on his feet to the 30-yard line. What a joy it's been to watch Lashawn Wallace tonight, and Seth Glatz for Morton as well. Both running backs having terrific games.
I mean, it's unbelievable how hard Wallace has been getting hit, and he just refuses to go down time by time. And that's part with staying low to the ground, like you said, low man wins. And he's been staying lower than the defenders, and he has had a great night.
Be interesting to see that final yard total once this goes final. Oldfield drops back. It's a pass to start the drive. Looking for Plummer down the field, and it's just overthrown. Oldfield was looking for Plummer, and Plummer extended between the 40 and 35. Just couldn't quite get there. Pass was towards the sideline. It was a tough play. Do you like that from Canton coming out with a shot?
Yeah, and for time's sake, they're really going to need to start passing it here. They can't eat too much clock just for the fear that Morton scores again and to give themselves time to score again in a stop. So I think we're going to see a couple more passes here. And hopefully I want to see a little Wallace wheel route out of the back.
Play action. Glatz going for Oldfield. He's got him. Dives and makes the stop at the 20. It's a sack. It's a big loss. And that serves to hurt Canton in a number of ways. Keeps the clock going and moves them that much farther back. 3rd and 20, a loss of 10. As Oldfield now runs back into the huddle, and that's got to change at least a little bit, right?
Yeah, and now you have to pass, really. And Morton's going to be ready for this. They're well coached. They're going to be sitting back waiting for it.
Oldfield looking, fires a bullet down the field. It's tipped, and that tip probably saved a touchdown. It was going to fall right into the hands of Miller, but instead it's Brent England stepping up. Got a hand on that one. Also in on it was Connor Hines, and the intended receiver was Turner Plummer. Pardon me, Miller was also down the field on that one, but it's a defensive play like that, because if Morton allows that, that's a big touchdown. Field flipper on 3rd and 20. Now it's 4th and 20, and it may as well be 4th and ball game for the Little Giants. Oldfield steps up in the pocket, gets away, but he's brought down. Never really got away at all as the Morton defensive line stepped up, and a big sack that time. It's Ian Munchler coming in, the junior. Caught up to Oldfield and brought him down. Munchler gets a couple of high fives, couple of hugs on the sideline, and you don't want to call it over prematurely, but it's going to be really tough for Canton as Morton has answered with play after play, offense and defense.
And on top of the stop, I mean, the field position right now is heavily in Morton's favor.
Both teams, as you see at the bottom of your screen, with all 3 timeouts. The clock can stop. But one more touchdown may well in the game. Kaufman, handoff to Glatz. Seth Glatz, far side, has Green in front of him. Seth Glatz, end zone, touchdown, Morton. We'll see if they give it to him. Morton thinks they're in. Yes, they are. Seth Glatz. And that may well be the final nail in the coffin as Morton goes ahead by 3 touchdowns.
And Seth Glatz maybe gets into the end zone for about the 20th time tonight, include the penalties.
Seth Glatt's a terrific game. As you said, a couple of holding, and that's a testament to Morton that they've been able to overcome those holding calls. A couple of penalties, things they haven't done perfectly. And
much better job in the second half, I would say. And like you said, their coach definitely talked to them about it.
Gotta imagine it will still be a focal point at practice, but that's the mark of a well-coached team, a team that maybe comes out, for whatever reason, not doing what they want to be doing or what they halftime.
Yes.
And I know you played at Metamora for the legendary coach Pat Ryan, who now is on Brett Bielma's staff at Illinois after 30 years at Metamora. He was that kind of coach that would make sure that those mistakes got cleaned up.
Yeah, and you're going to hear from him if they don't.
Tough Monday at practice?
Well, I don't know about that. It's just when those teeth come out, that little, when he starts yelling, you see the teeth, uh-oh, yeah, I better fix this right now.
It's the mark of a coach you want to do well for, right? That motivates you
yeah.
and gets the most out of you.
And I'll say this till the day I die. He's the best coach I've ever had, and I love that man, and I would do anything for him. And I know anybody who played for him would as well. He's an amazing guy, and Illinois is so lucky to have him on their staff.
I've got to give him a lot of credit for the job. He obviously 30 years at Metamora. State championships, a program that was always tough, but at Illinois, I mean, he's playing a big role in changing the narrative around that team, a team that didn't recruit Illinois all that well under Lovie Smith. Now he's built some of those pipelines back and gotten that trust back among the high school football coaches of Illinois. Pat Ryan has, as Wallace goes down inside the 25.
And I'm not sure they could get many other guys who are built for that job like he is, and the amount of connections and the teams he's played and the people he knows and the respect people have for him really goes a long way when he's talking to coaches throughout, because he knows who he can trust, and those coaches know they can trust them when they send their kids to Illinois. So it's really great. I love that position. I love that he is recruiting Illinois, getting a pipeline back. I mean, there's so much great football from the top to the bottom of Illinois, and like I said, Pat Ryan, just an amazing guy.
It's one of the great high school football states in the nation. People talk about Florida, they talk about Texas, but Illinois produced a number of highly touted recruits. Obviously, a ton of Illinois players. Spans up to Chicago, down to the St. Louis area and the Illinois side, and everywhere in between. 48-27 as Canton looks to mount one last charge. They do have all 3 timeouts left. Oldfield escapes the pocket. That's to Miller. Miller did a great job of hauling that in on a bobble. Morton got in, and a couple of Potters assist on that tackle, but how about Jake Miller hanging with that one?
I mean, we've said this time and time again, the amount of weapons in this game on both sides is unbelievable. Both teams have running backs, receivers that can make plays at any time, and not to forget the defense as well.
If this holds, Morton to 2-1, Canton to 0-3. 4 minutes left in the game. It's Wallace. Wallace to the 37-yard line before he's brought down. And assuming this score holds, or some variation of it with Morton ahead, you don't want to rule it out yet. We'll see if Canton has one more shot at it, but you've got to like what you've seen from Canton tonight. You know, if you're a Canton coach, a player, a fan, they have put on a good showing against a talented Morton team. Not over yet, as there's a haul in at the 30-yard line. Caden Otto, first time we've called his name tonight.
And if you're Canton, you're wishing you saw that a couple quarters earlier, unfortunately.
A couple of times where receiver and quarterback have just been a little bit off of each other, not quite on the same page. Those plays have added up.
32-yard game.
Canton still with 27 points in offense that has heated up in the second half. Oldfield looking out to the flat. It's dropped after a big hit from Mack Anderson. Anderson has been a big part of the offense and comes up with a big hit on defense, maybe the biggest hit we've seen tonight. jarred that ball loose.
Mack Anderson on cover.
And that's the price you pay sometimes with those screens. I mean, guys flying down, safeties flying down, linebackers, and running across the middle. When you hear footsteps, we've seen it a couple times this game, and either they drop it or they catch it and pay the price.
2nd and 10. Bad snap. Oldfield recovers. I don't know if the snap was all that bad. Oldfield just couldn't quite hang on to it, but did a nice job of chasing it. Fell on it. 3rd down. Oldfield has had, let's not have that lost. He's had a good game. He's not turned the ball over. He's made throws. He's facilitated a strong running game, made a lot of plays with his legs.
And for him and this whole team, I know the scoreboard says different, but this is really a step in the right direction for this Canton football team.
2 tough losses, weeks 1 and 2, to Muhammad Seymour and Marengo, as Oldfield was forced to get rid of that one. But a step in the right direction, I think, is the perfect way to describe it. Canton with, those first couple of weeks, there wasn't a lot of optimism around this game, this matchup as we went into it. I think Morton was, by and large, expected to pull away with this one, and they have pulled away with this one, but they were expected to maybe put this one away a little earlier than they did, and Canton has kept it a ball game all throughout. Terrific game in week 3 that the score will probably not reflect as well upon as it should. 4th down and 15. Canton will use the first of its 3 timeouts.
Can't use this first timeout.
With this being likely the decisive play, or one of the decisive plays in the outcome of this game. Canton obviously still with a lot more work to do if they can convert this 4th and 15. For Canton next couple of weeks, though, Ryan, some winnable matchups. They'll travel to East Peoria next Friday the 17th of September. They'll host Pekin on the 24th. That'll be a tough one. The Pekin Dragons 3-0, and they've taken down a good Dunlap team tonight. They will travel to Limestone on October 1st. They'll host Washington on October 8th. At Dunlap on the 15th of October, and they will host Metamora on Friday, October 22nd. I remember in 2019, I believe Pekin started 0-3 and ran the table. And Pekin, Washington, and Metamora are games you'd rather have at home.
And this is a Canton team that they're gonna win some games, and I really think that they're gonna stun somebody throughout the season. Someone who comes into the game not ready. When you got running backs like Wallace and playmakers like Canton does, like you really have the chance to stun somebody if they're not ready.
They've taken a good Morton team to the wire tonight. Well, not quite to the wire, but well into the 4th quarter. This game was in doubt. It was a 1-score game early in this quarter. Although it looks like Morton will advance to 2-1. They'll come out and likely run the clock out. Canton with just 2 timeouts. The math favors the Potters. And looking at Morton, they will advance likely to 2-1. Just trying to run the clock out. It appears as though they've got the second team in. Not the second team, I shouldn't say, but Carl Whitaker is in the backfield. And that's the first time we've seen him back there tonight. That was a direct snap to Ashton Saddam.
Jude Hart, loss of 1.
Or pardon me, the quarterback, Jude Hart, not Saddam. Saddam is on the field as a receiver, I believe, in towards us. I've got that all sorts of wrong. We'll sort that out in a minute. Who I thought was Saddam is actually Marcelo Salazar, as the clock continues to run under 1:20. But for Morton, next week they'll host Pekin, and at Washington they'll host Metamora. And then they finish at East Peoria, at home against Limestone, and at Dunlap. A good Morton team that establishes themselves in the Mid-Illini Conference conversation tonight.
Great perimeter tackle there.
Sets up 4th and long, but that will likely do it. Play clock and game clock separated by about 10 seconds. Morton will have to snap it one more time, but Canton not electing to use its timeouts. Ryan, you know as well as anyone from having played in this conference for a couple of years, it is such a tough football conference to succeed in. But as Morton has entered themselves, I think, into the conference conversation this year. Maybe as a dark horse, Metamora and Pekin probably, in Washington, still at the top of that conversation. But this Morton team, kind of like you said for Canton, I think could play anyone close on any given night.
I mean, very much. They have a chance to win every week throughout the season. Glatt's in the backfield, and like we've said all night, it's not just him. They have a plethora of weapons, and they're gonna have a chance. Pekin, Metamora, all these teams, and who knows what Canton does in the next week. I mean, this is only week 1 of the conference play, so I don't like that this Canton's team is 0-3. I don't think they're an 0-3 football team truly, and they're going to get a few wins, and I really do think they're going to stun a few teams throughout the conference and surprise a lot of people.
For them, that quest will start next week at East Peoria. A good chance to snag a win. An East Peoria team you can't take lightly, but a team that I think Canton would match up well against, as Morton will elect to punt it with 12.5 seconds left. Could be the final play of the game depending on a couple of factors. Clock starts. Canton will likely have one more play after this, as it's a nice return to the 50-yard line and staying up. That might do it for the game. We'll see. The clock will run down. A 12.5-second punt on a nice return from Isaiah Session, who had a couple of nice special teams plays this evening. Morton 48, Canton 27, your final. But a game that, a win's a win for Morton, and the score will say they won by 21 points. They did, but it was close throughout, and it was a good second win from Morton to put this one away.
And you can see the Morton coaches, they respect each other, they respect the other team, and they know that Canton was in this game till the end, and until about halfway through the fourth quarter when they really put it away. But overall, well played game. It got a little sloppy at times, but I think it went both ways and kind of evened itself out. But both teams had offensive explosions, and both teams had stops, and I believe both teams had each defense caused a turnover really early. So all around, I really like these two teams. They're going to do well in the conference.
It's going to be fun to see how it all plays out. Canton's journey in the MIC stifled tonight by Morton. Morton 1-0 in the conference. Canton falls to 0-1 and 0-3 overall, but a Canton team that will be hungry throughout the season and a team you can't take lightly. Morton celebrates. It'll be a fun bus ride back home. A couple of other winners tonight in the conference. Pekin defeats Dunlap. Washington takes down Limestone, and Metamora takes down East Peoria. That'll do it for our Clutch Sports media coverage tonight in Canton. Want to shout out our entire crew. Jonathan Michael running our camera, Evan Johnson on our computer tonight, Rodrigo Perez and Francisco Alonso on our social medias. I'm Joey Wright alongside Ryan Vogel. A couple times tonight I've been a little like, who's calling this game with me? But Ryan,
I know,
great,
mystery man.
Great to have you out here. First game you've called with us. Obviously a terrific player at Metamora back in your high school days. Appreciated you coming out tonight with us. Hope you can join us a couple more times this season.
Oh, I hope so. Thank you for having me, Joey.
It's been a lot of fun. It was a fun one. Morton 48, Canton 27 for all of us at Clutch Sports Media. Thank you for watching. Join us next week. A lot of great football coming up throughout the balance of this season.